All right, we're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order for November 19th, 2013 for the Stillwater Planning Commission. First item on the agenda this evening is J.R. and Lynn Reeves, map amendment PZ.13.1785, requesting review and approval to rezone property addressed at 512 South West Street and 509 South Knobloch from RTM, residential two-family and multifamily, to CG, commercial general district. Mr. Coots.
Tom Coots, Development Services. This is, I should start off, it's two separate properties separated by an alleyway. As I said, the applicant is requesting to rezone the properties from the RTM district to the CG Commercial General District. The property is surrounded on the north by the RTM Residential Two-Family Multifamily District, on the north and east sides, the south by the CG Commercial General, and on the west by the O Office District. The uses on the north is multifamily and kind of single family. On the east, single family, south commercial, and the west side is a church. You'll notice from the air photo that on the western portion, west of the alley, is already a parking lot. It's a parking lot that serves the existing screen printing business to the south, and the applicant is the owner of the screen printing business, and so they're really what this is the applicant has bought this property back behind on the east side of the alley, already owned the part with the parking lot, and so they're seeking to do some commercial uses on this property on the east side of the alley, and was suggested that maybe we should just go ahead and zone both of them, since the one on the west side is already used commercially as well. So staff findings include the proposed CG zoning is not consistent with the C3 land use plan. The C3 plan recommends low density residential on that on the plan, the north of the existing commercial zoning area. The proposed CG zoning is consistent with the expected growth patterns of the neighborhood because it's adjacent to commercial, and part of it's already used commercially already anyway. And the property is located adjacent to commercial zoning. So short and sweet. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
All right, thank you.
Has there been any discussion with any members of the public? Any?
No, I haven't received any comments.
Okay. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion. Anyone that would like to speak in favor of the opposition, please step forward and state your name.
Do I need to?
You don't have to. It's not required.
Well, I'm in favor
If you've prepared something. Okay.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Seeing none, anyone that would like to speak in opposition, please step forward. Seeing none, we'll close that portion. Mr. Coots, give your alternatives, please.
Okay, we can accept staff findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed map amendment as presented. Or we can find that the map amendment is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impacts to the surrounding vicinity, and recommend that the City Council deny the map amendment.
Any discussion?
I think we do have a, no, we don't. Never mind.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed map amendment as presented.
Second.
Okay. First and second, please vote. That does pass this evening with 7 votes yes. All right, second item, Branch Towers Specific Use Permit, PZ.13.1787, requesting review and approval of a specific use permit to allow a 100-foot cell tower on property addressed as 5106 North Washington Street in the CG Commercial General District.
Mr. Chairman, I have a personal interest in that property, so I'm going to recuse myself if that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marler.
Come get you.
Okay, Tom Coots, Development Services. Have a map of the property. As we can see, the property is zoned CG, Commercial General. Property is surrounded on the north by the Public District as a park, the east, public district, it's the golf course. South, commercial general, mini storage, and also RSS, residential, small lot, single family, and single family homes, and to the west by the Moore Park. I've got highlighted on the map, I'll circle it so we can sort of see it, the approximate tower location. The proposed towers is proposed to be 100 feet tall. A tower is normally supposed to be set back from a residential district by 200% of the height of the tower. So since it's 100 foot tall, it needs to be 200 feet from a residential district. It is to this point right here, which is the closest residential district, it is less than the 200. However, this lot right here is an outlot for the drainage area for the subdivision, and to the nearest actual residential lot down here, it's 225 feet. And so we're wrapping up this that distance requirement along with the requirement since it's over 75 feet tall. That's why we're here. All right. Findings include a cell tower in excess of 75 feet does require a specific use permit, regardless of what zoning district it's in. The specific use permit would permit a cell tower within 200 feet of a residential district, and like I said, it's normally would need to be because it's a 100-foot tall tower. The residential property within 200 feet is a platted outlot, and the surrounding neighborhood is made up of a mixture of single-family and commercial uses. So do we have any questions for me?
Has there been any,
To date, I have not received any comments from the public on this. We did send out letters to everyone within 300 feet of the property.
Quick question. Has this been, I'm assuming it has been, it's fairly close proximity to the fly zone for the airport. Has that been, I'm assuming that'll be addressed by someone somewhere?
Well, yes, they will have to apply for a CUBR, commercial use by right, for the actual, well, they have applied actually, for the commercial review of the request. And they have told me that they have gotten all the approvals for the fly zone and whatnot. So they could have up to, I think it was 150 feet for that.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Tom? Okay. This time we'll open the public hearing portion. Anyone that would like to speak in favor, please step forward and state your name. Please step forward and state your name and address, please.
I'm Kayla Kramer from Branch Communications. I'm the one that filed this permit. I'm from Tulsa, 1516 South Boston Avenue. And I just wanted to let you know that we have filed for FAA approval. We have an extended study that will be back on approximately the 16th of December. And we are approved up to 170 feet at this point, but it will have to be lit because of the proximity to the airport.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for me based on this?
What about fencing? I mean, is there something that goes around?
There will be a fence around it, yes.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Seeing none. Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Mr. Coots, your alternatives, please.
Okay. We can accept the staff findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented. We can find that additional information and/or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation, so either continue consideration to a certain date or table a consideration until the additional information is available. Or we can find that the specific use permit is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impacts to the surrounding vicinity and recommend that the City Council deny the specific use permit. Do you have any other questions for me?
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept findings and recommend that City Council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented.
Do we have a second? Second. Please place your votes. That does pass this evening with 6 yes votes and 1 abstention. Lord, could you ask Josh to step back in here? Thank you. All right. Third item on the agenda this evening is a text amendment, PZ.13.1793 to Chapter 23 Land Development Code, amending sections 23.96, definitions 23.160, IL Light Industrial District, and 23.161 General Industrial District. Mr. Coots?
Okay, staff has been working for quite some time to take a harder look at the industrial districts and the use that are allowed in the districts, so we came forward with this amendment. This amendment, it adds some uses that were previously not allowed to the IL and IG districts. So it removes some uses that were maybe a little bit too heavy or not heavy enough for, depending on the circumstances, from the IL and IG districts. It changes around some of the uses that were previously allowed with a specific use permit. And we also came up with 2 use categories to add to the plan. One of them, miscellaneous manufacturing, which kind of is a catch-all for all other manufacturing. It wasn't covered elsewhere. And then the oil and gas industry services, which is kind of a special use specifically for Stillwater because of the interest in those types of uses, to sort of separate out the less intense oil and gas uses. So you have before you the text with all the different changes, and so I'll go through the findings, and then I'll ask if you have any specific questions about any of the sections, and we can go from there. Findings include that this text amendment will not cause a safety concern throughout the community and will encourage development. Miscellaneous manufacturing and oil and gas services are needed use classifications. And this text amendment will allow for complementary uses in the industrial districts. So, do you have any questions for me?
Just had a question on animal and pet keeping facility that was formerly in the IG. Looks like it's been taken out. Where did it end up back into, I guess?
The animal and pet keeping facility is allowed currently as a specific use in the CG, Commercial General District, and a permitted use in the A Agriculture District. It was not added back to any of the Light Industrial District when it was taken out of the General Industrial District.
Reasoning for that?
Well, don't really have a good reason not to allow it in the IL district, because that's sort of it's a lighter type use. It did seem a little bit because we're trying to keep the lighter industrial uses out of the general industrial district, so that's why it was stricken from the general industrial district. But it probably would fit pretty well in the light industrial district if we wanted to add it back to there.
I know, I've had experience in the area where my office is. It is IL, and there have been at least one I know of, a boarding type facility for pets, and it was never a problem with all the businesses there that I know.
This animal and pet keeping also includes things like veterinary services.
I don't know, just personally, I'd like to see that one remain in IL as a use by right. I agree with the special use in CG. I think it doesn't fit as well in CG as it would IL.
Yeah.
But that's a personal preference of mine, that I'd like to see that one
So
item.
you want to add it to IL?
I want to leave it in IL.
Instead of
I'm sorry,
striking it.
IG. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now I'm following you. You want to leave it into IG,
Yeah.
and I am for that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I've got mixed up there. Yes, IG. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
I might be a little bit confused, 'cause I thought when we were talking about it,
Oh, actually, no.
we
I do
were
mean
proposing
that.
to remove it from the IG district. I
Yeah,
think we were
and
talking
put it
about
back
adding
in
it to
IL.
the IL
Because I'm
district.
in IL and it's.
Because it wasn't previously allowed
Sorry.
in the
Yes,
IL.
yes. I would like to see it taken from IG and put in IL. Sorry.
It was not in IL originally?
Correct.
Okay.
But whatever you
I-
guys want to do.
We'll get to discussion. I know.
Any more questions for Tom? Okay. At this point, we'll open the public hearing portion. Anyone that would like to speak in favor of these text amendments, step forward. Seeing none. Anyone that'd like to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Mr. Coots, alternatives, please.
Okay, we can accept staff findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed text amendment. Or we can accept the staff findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed text amendment with changes. Or we can find that the proposed text amendment is not needed and recommend that the item not be approved by city council. Any other questions come to you? Alrighty, thank you.
Any discussion?
I would say that there needs to be a place for that, you know, and it would be AG only, from what I understand, if we don't.
Special
By
use.
use.
Special
Or by,
use.
special
in
use
CG.
permit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
currently.
And, you know, part of this is maybe it needs to be flagged as special use permit so that it comes before here in case somebody's bringing in a 7,500 cow, something deal like that. But I would think that if we're going to move forward as a city, that is one thing that we ought to provide. And welcome people that would bring that to us. I don't know how much of it's out there either. That's my comment.
You want to make a motion?
I'll try to
Yeah.
take a stab at the motion. Motion to accept findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed text amendments with the only change being add animal and pet keeping services as a use by right in the IL Light Industrial District.
I'll second that motion.
First and second, please vote. That does pass this evening with 7 yes votes. Now we have our 2014 Planning Commission meeting schedule. Did everyone get an opportunity to look over that and look into the future? See if you're going to be here for all those dates? We do need to approve that this evening, so we would take a motion.
I would move that we approve the meeting schedule.
Second?
Please vote. That does pass this evening, 7 votes yes. Our next Planning Commission meeting is set for December 3rd, 2013. With that, I'd entertain a motion for dismissal.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Please vote. We are adjourned.
The basketball.
Play ball.